Hey there, it's Adrian from Drone Spray Canada. I wanted to show you guys our answer to a really common question we get is how to set up your actual field boundaries. There's multiple ways to do this. We find that this is our most efficient way as a custom applicator. Of course, you can take an M3M and you can map it all. You can just do the crosshairs on the map. If you use the stock Google Earth stuff though, always again, be very careful. Trees change, there could be a building there that's not there, or that's there nowadays. A lot of things have maybe shifted with those maps. So this way here was introduced with the T50, and we fly the outside headland in M+ mode, and then from there, once we land, there's a save as field, and then it leaves all your line spacings in, and the rest of it's easy. So here we're going to demonstrate on this field. There's lots of obstacles. There's trees in the bush over here. One thing that we really always encourage our customers to keep in mind, you're not a field sprayer and you're not a helicopter. You're kind of in the middle of either one. With a field sprayer, you have a breakaway boom. You get really close to something and you hit something, you just back up and keep on going. A helicopter is always going to keep a really good distance away from things. The drone, of course, gets much closer than the helicopter, but again, we don't like trees and branches. That's what causes things to break.
Pedestrian too close to aircraft. Check
property. 2 gallons per acre. A relatively low rate for what we like. You'll notice your radar is beeping as to how close you are to things. So here we'll start applying. There's a tree branch there. So you'll notice a green line follows me as I apply. It'll note where we've applied and what we've applied, where we sprayed and didn't spray. And with the obstacle avoidance, the drone is slowing down as we get closer to obstacles. One thing that I did deliberately do is we're not going to be flying at full speed. If I was doing this at the full 45 miles an hour, this would be incredibly difficult. I did actually bring this back to our T50's maximum speed of 23 miles per hour. I've been doing this for a very long time. It's a speed that I'm very comfortable with. One thing that I really like to do when I do this is I do leave the obstacle avoidance on. I used to actually turn it off a whole bunch. I really like to get close to things. But again, bearing in mind how much it's worth to get close to a tree for a crop that's probably not growing very well underneath of it anyways. Here's an easy stretch where there's just a fence row. We're slowing down as we get to the corner. We always want to do as good of a job as we can, but especially in the custom world, customers crash. I'm only doing 30 feet per second. This is T50 speeds, this isn't even T100.
No, but I'm only running the little mini.
So, one thing that I'll demonstrate right now, actually, right now I have 23% battery. I'll go to this fence post and I'll come back and we'll do a battery change. On a small field, you can probably do this all with one battery. I'm going to turn off my spray with the spray button, and I will come back. So I'm not applying, so now you'll see a white line behind me, not the green line.
Battery level. Keep away for safety.
So one thing you'll notice, I flew this whole field and there's that green line of what I applied. And when I stopped here, I shut my spray off with my spray button over here and I flew it back. This gave me a white line. So this is what is important to, when you close your boundary, it will only use what you applied and not what you flew. So I'm going to change our battery here and we'll keep on going. One thing to bear in mind, what I really like about this is you don't have to go back to the point that you left off from. On a larger field, maybe you started one side and you worked the other way around it, then maybe you want to go from where you take off and start applying the other direction. If you're doing something where you're applying your full rate, say 100 pounds to the acre of urea, something where you might take a couple of loads to finish your whole perimeter, it's nice to be able to just kind of pick off where you want to go. So here we're going to go, we're going to take off again.
Aircraft preparing to take off. Stand back at a safe distance. Take
And
off.
here we'll start from this point and we'll work the other way of the field.
On ground. Aircraft too close to obstacle. Move away from obstacle. Aircraft braked to avoid obstacle.
So now I'm going to hit the resume button. Do not hit end or it will stop where your field's at.
Braked to avoid obstacle.
So here we can keep on continuing. We're applying.
Away from obstacle.
We're going to get close to the trees, but again, trees and drones don't mix. I always like to kind of keep that radar with that red. It knows that we're fairly close, like that's 9 feet away from an obstacle it's seeing. And we're flying through the camera here and we're going to watch out for any branches or anything that might jump out. It's a bit of an overhang there, we're going to be conscientious of that. There's really no sense being a hot shot and flying underneath the tree branches. So we're going to push into this corner a little bit, we're going to turn, we're going to pick up this edge again. Take this, keep on going. And coming up on that fence post, we can also see in the map where I left off, and we're done. We can turn off our spray, come home. I always like to land and then play with my map and edit it. Otherwise you're just in the air burning up battery for no reason.
Task paused.
So, now that we've landed, the most important thing is that our green lines touch and it all closes. Now we're going to hit end
Task complete.
and the save as field. Now we have this beautiful boundary, our headline is done, and now we have all our lines in there. One technique that I like is I will take my spray swath, so that 24 feet, and I will do our boundary, and when it comes to the margin, I will add half of that. See where that orange line is? That's the swath that we're gonna be basically on what we just did. Add another half, or another swath to that. So now it would be 36 feet. And now we kind of have this double headland situation going on. And what I like about this a whole bunch, especially as it gets dark or late and maybe you can't see the trees anymore, it's nice to know that you're really far away from that field boundary and you're not going to worry at all about hitting anything. Again, if you come back to this field later, just take that other swath out and put your half swath. Now that orange line is back onto what I flew, so it should duplicate what I did perfectly. Same thing if you weren't applying at a full rate, or there is another technique if you want where you don't spray, but then I will show that in another video where you'll have to make all those points out with the crosshairs. It's a technique we used to use more on the T40s. It is harder to do the M+ mode when you're newer because you do have to have the loaded drone. Your battery won't last as long as if you're empty. But again, this is a more our go-to technique to always set up a field when a customer calls us to come out and do some work. So we're gonna go mark out this obstacle, and I'll show you how to play with the map here and make it do what you're gonna want after. So let's take off here. We're gonna go back into M+ mode.
Aircraft preparing to take off. Stand back at a safe distance. Take off. Aircraft on ground.
So with all of our parameters still set, I'll get by that truck, the obstacle, and I will start. And we'll go and we'll fly around it. And then from there, we're going to come back
Disable spray.
and land.
Aircraft on ground.
Now I like to apply as I go around that, so again we're getting nice and close to our obstacle, and we've applied our products as comfortably as we can. So then we're going to
Task
come back into our map that we made, and you'll see that we have a green shape around what our obstacle was. So here we can go into our route mode. We've already made this map, but again, here we can edit it. We can add an obstacle point. So now with the crosshairs, we can
obstacle point added.
add those obstacles.
Obstacle point added. Obstacle point added.
And now our drone is going to keep away from whatever that is. Same thing here. There's an obstacle boundary safety distance, as I talked about earlier. Say we had a 24-foot swath. You can put a bit more of a safety in there. And you know that that's been well applied. That's really it. One thing to note is if you were flying the field with as we had marked our outer boundary, these inner boundaries, the way it figures it all out, it just uses the extreme on the outsides. So unfortunately, it doesn't punch these obstacles into the map on its own. It doesn't really understand what you did here. But now by just adding this manually, you can use that green polygon and you know that you're safe from everything else.